Amara, a 19-year-old black woman, had grown up in a modest neighborhood where opportunities felt reserved for a privileged few. Her parents, despite their limited means, always encouraged her to dream big. "Never forget, Amara," her mother often said. "You can achieve anything if you put your whole heart into it." These words became a guiding force in her life, driving her ambition and resilience in the face of countless challenges. From a young age, Amara was fascinated by machines and technology. While other children played outside, she spent her days tinkering in her family's tiny garage. She would take apart old appliances, curious to understand how each component worked. Sometimes her experiments resulted in small fires or broken gadgets, much to her mother's frustration, but Amara never gave up. Over time, her clumsy efforts evolved into a practical skill set. She taught herself how to build working devices, write simple code, and assemble circuits from scratch. Her neighborhood, however, was riddled with problems. Uncollected trash piling up in streets, lack of infrastructure, and little hope for change. Amara's community felt invisible to those in power. Every day on her way to school, she saw children wading through heaps of garbage. These scenes fueled her desire to use her growing knowledge to make a difference. By the age of 17, she decided to take on an ambitious project, building a robot that could autonomously sort waste. Amara scoured scrapyards, thrift shops, and even her neighbors' discarded electronics for parts. Her garage became a chaotic workshop filled with wires, motors, and blueprints scribbled on the backs of old notebooks. She often stayed up late, troubleshooting endless mechanical failures. There were nights she cried out of frustration, but the fire within her refused to be extinguished. After months of relentless effort, she finally constructed a working prototype. It wasn't flashy, but it worked. Using basic artificial intelligence, the robot could identify and sort different types of waste into separate bins. It was a small step, but for her, it represented something bigger: hope. One afternoon, as she browsed online for tutorials to improve her robot, Amara stumbled across an announcement. Tesla was hosting a global innovation competition. The grand prize? A chance to present her project to Elon Musk himself, with the possibility of funding to bring it to life. Amara's first instinct was doubt. How could a girl from her background compete on such a stage? But then she remembered her mother's words. With a mixture of courage and nerves, she submitted her application. When the day of the competition arrived, Amara stood outside Tesla's gleaming campus, clutching her robot in a makeshift wooden crate. She wore a simple dress and had styled her hair in intricate braids, a proud nod to her African heritage. Inside, the atmosphere was electric. Contestants were setting up elaborate booths, surrounded by sleek marketing videos and entourages of advisors. Amara had no fancy displays, just her invention and her story. As she waited for her turn, doubt crept in. Could she really compete with teams of engineers and cutting-edge prototypes? But when her name was called, she took a deep breath, held her head high, and stepped onto the stage. The room was packed with engineers, executives, media representatives, and at the front, Elon Musk himself. Amara began her presentation by sharing her story. Her modest upbringing, the struggles of her community, and how these challenges had inspired her to create a solution. "This robot," she said, placing it gently on the demonstration table, "is proof that innovation doesn't require a fancy lab or a big budget. It just takes determination." The audience was captivated by her sincerity, but Elon Musk challenged her with pointed technical questions. Amara answered them all with calm confidence, describing every detail of her process. Finally, Musk leaned forward and said, "This is promising, but I want to see more. Improve this robot. Make it solve a larger problem. Come back in a month and show me what you've got." Amara returned home both exhilarated and overwhelmed. Over the next 4 weeks, she poured every ounce of energy into improving her robot. She upgraded its AI algorithms, reinforced its mechanical components, and increased its sorting capacity. Friends and neighbors, inspired by her determination, started contributing resources and support. A month later, Amara stood once again on Tesla's stage, this time with a significantly enhanced robot. She set up a large pile of trash for the demonstration: plastic bottles, paper, and organic waste. The robot sprang to life, scanning each item and sorting it with precision. The audience watched in awe as the machine worked. Just as the crowd began to applaud, the robot emitted a loud, grinding noise and froze. Amara's heart sank. Panic threatened to overwhelm her, but she refused to give in. Elon Musk stood up and walked toward the stage. "What's wrong?" he asked. Amara quickly diagnosed the problem. One of the motors had overheated due to excessive load. Musk handed her a wrench and said, "Fix it." Her hands shook as she opened the robot's casing, the weight of hundreds of eyes bearing down on her. But she remembered the countless nights she had spent repairing similar issues in her garage. With steady hands, she replaced the faulty motor with a spare she had brought, recalibrated the system, and restarted the robot. This time, it worked flawlessly. The robot completed its task faster and more efficiently than before. The room erupted in applause. Amara, overwhelmed with relief, wiped away a tear as Musk approached her. "Amara," he said, addressing both her and the crowd, "you've just shown us all what true innovation looks like. It's not about where you come from or what resources you have. It's about resilience, passion, and the courage to face failure head-on." He turned to her with a smile. "You've earned your place here at Tesla, but more importantly, I want to help you take this project to the next level. Together, we can turn this into a solution that will change the world." As the crowd cheered, Amara felt a surge of pride and hope. She was no longer just a girl from a forgotten neighborhood. She was an innovator, a change maker, and proof that brilliance knows no boundaries.